Hello, sip and chill. How are you guys? Listen, please let me know that you're here. I'm broadcasting from a platform to Facebook, so I can't see you. So if you would please just let me know you're here by um, typing in "Hey, I'm here" in the chats, just to see if it shows on my side. I have, again, unfortunately, no way of knowing if you were here, so I'll be checking. Um, Periodically. Awesome. Okay. Fantastic. Someone's just let me know they're here. So that means you can see me. And I can't see your names. It just tells me that it is coming into the, I can't see all of your names. So I may not be able to see who you are, but I will see your questions. And at the end, we will do a Q&A. So want to take a few moments to let some people come in. We just started and there may be a slight delay. Um, and I'll get into who I am and what Sip and Chill is, and welcome people to the group. I'm excited. I really am excited to share with you. Excited to have you here, and just to say right now, and I'll probably reiterate again, for those who cannot attend, they will be able to see the replay in the group. It'll be made available because I understand people have schedules, although, most of the sheltering in place, they still have other commitments, right? So if you're alive, or that's great. If you're not, that's also cool because again, it will be available for replay. Again, want to take a little bit of time, a few more minutes to see who is, to let people get in to the group before we get into the material and our topic today. So I hope everybody is staying safe, sheltering in place, because that's what we should be doing, protecting ourselves and others. I know that it's a difficult time and space right now, but we're going to get through. It's just a matter of we just have to stay the course because there's so many things that we've endured up until now. Now, this is obviously one we've not seen, but I have no doubt that we will certainly overcome. Yeah, yeah. So people are starting to come in. This is good news. This is good news. Give me one second. I'm going to be checking my phone because I am on my own. Awesome. So people can see. Great. So again, please, as you come in, let me know you're here, and we will get started in a bit. Man, yeah. So this is that whole filler time, right? When you kind of have to try to bide time until people get in to give them a chance. So, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all of you who are here. And again, excited that you chose to join the stream. All right. So now that I know people are there, let's go get to it, right? So who am I? I am Coach Reg, Reginald Smith, and I'm a relationship coach. I have been coaching for a number of years, but professionally since March 2016. And I am internationally coaching Federation trained coach. I am a internationally coaching Federation trained coach. And so it's a program that I completed actually in March, and we were due to graduate in May, but that's obviously not going to happen now, but we may still graduate, just not, the stage as we had hoped. But that's okay. We endeavor to persevere. And so more about me, you can read about me and my background on my website, rucoached.com. It resolves letter, RU, coached, ED, or AREYOU, coached.com as well. And you can learn more about who I am and what I do and what I've done. I have been featured on nationally syndicated podcasts and radio programs. You can you can listen to those there if you like as well. They're all on the website. When you go to the website, be sure to follow the pop-up. It'll give you access to our mailing list. I'll ask you for a little bit of information, and I'll give you some in your email, and you'll see that as well. That's another welcome to our mailing list and our group. Let's see, what else can I tell you about me? Oh yeah, so yeah, are you coached? Are You Coached is a relationship coaching platform geared towards helping individuals uh, identify, participate, strengthen, and sustain healthy relationships. Um, and my clients are high achieving women who have attained many of their professional goals, but do not yet have the interpersonal relationship she desires. And so we work. I work with her to get to that point where she can readily identify. Now, that's not just for persons who are not in relationship. It could be for someone who is in relationship, and perhaps they may have felt they were in strengthen and sustain. And in fact, we may have to go back to identification because some things may have gotten lost along the way, right? Um, Fellas, I have to tell you, it's not that I don't work with men, because I do, and I have in the past, but I primarily market to women. So men, I do coach men as well, just to say. Question I often get is, do you work with couples? Yes, I do, but not together as individuals. So I'll work with a member of a couple as an individual. Okay. And yeah, see, so Are You Coached? Who I am. What is Are You Coached? And let's see what else I want to share with you. Told you who my clients are. All right, so you guys ready to learn about designing relationships? Because I'm sure that is probably, it's a coaching term first and foremost, and it may be foreign or unfamiliar to you as to what, designing relationships, what does that really mean? Um, Before we get into that, though, I want to explain to you. I want to share with you the difference between coaching. I want to share with you. I'm sorry, what coaching is and what coaching is not. Coaching is not helping you discover why you are as you are, why you may feel as you feel, what things may trigger you. That is not what coaches do. That's what therapists do. And I have reciprocal relationships with mental health care professionals that I can refer people to who are not yet ready for coaching. What is coaching? Coaching is helping a person move from where they are to where they say they want to be. Um, and I think that it is I'm sorry, I just had a question pop in, and we'll get to questions at the end. So I'll come back to it. But what coaching is an opportunity to help a person, to work with a person, to help them move from where they are to where they want to be, areas that they want to improve in. They recognize a need that they can improve, they want to be better, but don't know how to get there on their own. So that is why coaching is so important and powerful and impactful, because it helps a person who's already recognized, this is where I am, but this is where I want to be, and I'm not sure how to get there on my own. Okay. Um, so, oh my gosh, sorry guys, I'm trying to manage notifications and stuff. And so, yes, so that's coaching and not therapy, right? Coaching is not advice giving. Coaching is not, if I were you, I would do this. Coaching isn't, well, you need to, if I were you, I would consider this. That is not what coaching is. Coaching is helping an individual conclude their own answers and course of action and things they need to execute. Why is that important? Because as a coach, I can't control what happens in your life, nor can you, but you are the one who puts your head on your pillow each night, not me. So the things that you may share with me and the things that we work on, those are things that you have to conclude for you, because you have to live with it, not something that I think you should do, no matter how much or in service I am to you. The decision, whatever that may be, is yours to make, or the client's to me. So I think that's important to be clear on, because I want you to know that it is it's a wonderful journey, right? And so I started Sip and Chill because here we are. Some people will hear Sip and Chill and it's a cool time, and yeah, I want it to be a cool time, and that's what we're going to do. But it's sheltering in place and chill with Coach Reg. So if you're having a beverage, that's what's good. I'm not mad at you, because I may have one when we get off. Just saying. But no, it's definitely intended to. Sip and Chill is intended to be a platform, a virtual lounge, if you will, where people can come learn things that's going to help them be more successful in their life, their love, and relationships. That's the goal. And the purpose is to provide a place where people can come to get that. And they will hear not just from me, but other professionals and experts in their field share real, relevant, and relatable information that perhaps you can use. It'll also be a chance for them to let you know how you can connect with them if that service that they offer is what you need. Okay, because my contention is I'm a relationship coach. I don't coach everyone. I coach relationships. In fact, our guest next week, she works specifically with teens. Some of you may have had an opportunity to see or to view our show last week, our inaugural show with Coach Yolanda Adams, who did a phenomenal job. She is the founder of Living the Life You Love, and she offered some tremendous insight and perspective. And so she is a resource as well if your needs fit what she does, right? And so it's an opportunity to here at Sip and Chill. We want to also give other coaches, other professionals, other experts an opportunity to showcase what they do and let people know that they are a resource as well. So again, next week, our guest, her name is Courtney Suddes, and she is a coach as well, and she works with teens during this time because teens are struggling. Lots of teens are struggling with no proms, no graduations, can't see friends. It's been a difficult period for some folks, and so again, the idea is to offer resources for folks. All right, so people are still coming in, and that's good news. So let's talk about designing relationships. What exactly is designing relationships, right? And you may recall that I mentioned in last week's video, it was a phrase that I used, and I said it was a radical reconstruction of your relationships. So a radical reconstruction. So what I wanted to do is kind of disaggregate that phrase for you. So in fairness, obviously, in order to reconstruct, it suggests that something was first constructed, right? So really, it's a paradigm shift, if you will. And although unfamiliar, it can be very beneficial because what can happen is we start down paths with people in relationships. So we're going to cover two things. We're going to cover designing for romantic relationships, and we're going to talk about designing for coaching relationships, coach-client relationships. So we're going to begin with romantic relationships. In romantic relationships, it's really just how you move. There's a way to do things that don't have to be at your expense. Oftentimes when we're getting to know someone, we may be inclined to just not so much go along with, but we are not sure if we should say something because we don't want to upset the person. They may find it off-putting or whatever the case may be, but it should not be at your expense, especially if you know the thing that's bothering you doesn't work for you long term, and it's not something that will work. Now, in fairness, I know that people aren't dating right now. I guess people are trying. I'm not going to say what I know people aren't doing because I don't, but I'm speaking around when you have gotten to meet people and getting to know them and you like them and they may like you, but you're not sure really how you don't want to how do I want to say this? There may be something that bothers you that you really want to address. For example, I'm going to use a real loose example, but I want to use it to illustrate the point. So, you meet someone, you chat on the phone for a while, and then you decide to meet out. Now, in the course of chatting, that person tells you, if you ask them a question like, so tell me, what's one of your biggest flaws, right? Or what do you feel is one of the biggest flaws? And the person responds with, well, I'm habitually late. Oh my God, it's horrible. It's horrible. Now, let me be very clear before anyone thinks that I'm talking about a gender. I'm not, because I'm talking about people. So your gender really doesn't come into play here with this example. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. So when you're talking about a person tells you, hey, I'm habitually late, right? And that's kind of what, I know it's not the best, but it is just kind of what I've done. Okay, that's fine. Person tells you that. So now you continue talking, continue getting to know each other on the phone, kind of vetting each other, right? To see if meeting is even worth your time. So you agree to meet and you do so. and it's a cool time, but they're late on that first one, that first meetup, they're late. And then you're kind of like, wait a minute, you bothered. And then when they show up, however many minutes late, let's say 15, 20 minutes, perhaps even a half hour, they're late and they come in and they are like, man, good to see you. Traffic was crazy. They didn't call, they didn't text. They just showed up, said traffic was crazy, and wanted to continue like nothing happened. Didn't acknowledge being late, didn't acknowledge not respecting or regarding your time. It wasn't a considerate move. And you are kind of on fire because that's not something that works for you. But good person, just not sure. So say, again, good date. You may be someone who chooses to mention that day. You may say, I need to talk about. I need to let this. I need to. I need to think about this. I don't want to just respond. So let me give this a little bit of time. And so time passes, and you guys agree. You two agree to go out again. Same thing happens, and now you are kind of on 10 with this. And so it's noticeable, and you're bothered. And so what you do though, we're talking about design, because design is intended to hold people accountable, not just them, but to hold you accountable, hold the two people who are participating in the relationship accountable. That's why design is good. That's why reconstruction is good. So what do you do? You said, well, gosh, it's a good person. We have a good time. At least we seem to be. But this thing right here gets on my last nerve, and I got to say something. So you have a decision to make. Do you throw the baby out with the bathwater, or do you have a conversation? I would encourage you to consider having a conversation if that person is worth that. If getting to know them, and it hasn't been any other hiccups or things that are kind of like off-putting, but this one thing is a peeve of yours. In fact, it may even be a deal breaker for you if it's a potential deal breaker if unchecked. So you have a conversation. So the person says, "Listen, I am. I want to ask you a question. How you we've had we've met twice. Each time you've been late, and you didn't acknowledge being late, other than traffic was crazy or what have you." Person may say, "Well, I told you I was, I was habitually, I'm habitually late." Okay, and that's fair. You did tell me that. So let me ask you a question. Here we go with the design. Are you willing to now going forward, should we continue, to let me know, call me please, or text me when you're going to be late? When you know you're going to be late, please don't let the time come and go, and then you show up and say nothing. Are you willing to do that? Person may say, yeah, totally able to do that. Okay, cool. That's all I'm asking. Because although they did, and then once they say they're willing to do it, that's fine. Because again, you enjoy the person, just this tardiness is driving you bananas. So they are willing to share, but then, I'm sorry, they're willing to, they say they're willing to do that, and that's good news. But now you have to see if the actions align with the words. So the next time you guys are to connect, same thing happens. Does he call? Does she call? Does she text? Does she let you know that this is what I need to, this is what I need to do for this person? Because it's not, again, that the person is bad. It's simply to say that they have a bad habit that could become a better habit, because you designed in how how it needs to work for you. And you also got their buy-in, right? Because they agreed to do it. So going forward, should it happen again, you can go back to what you agreed to. Here's why this is important. Because if you don't do that, what happens is, because of the subtlety of getting to know someone, because it's fun, it's cool, it's enjoyable, it's all the things you wanted it to be, because you want a relationship potentially, or want to get to know the person. The problem is, if you don't address it early on, when you get into it, now all of a sudden, when you mention this tardiness that's been driving you crazy, this person who's habitually late, who told you up front, their response could likely be, "You're tripping." And you're like, "Are you serious right now?" And in fairness, it's reasonable. I'm not saying it's okay, but because you didn't say anything, and now it's 3 months, 4 months in, and this has driven you crazy, and now all of a sudden you're flipping the top mad about it, right? They're like, wait a minute, where's this coming from? And so what I'm suggesting with designing relationships is that have those conversations early, whatever it may be. You can design in whatever. You can design in intentional time to date. You can design in a date night if life gets too busy. You can even design in when you have conversations. Let me explain. Say you're paired and partnered with someone and they are upset about something. They're like, I want to talk to you. Okay, got it. And they may not have even considered the day that you've had or what's going on with you, right? So now it's a matter of saying, listen, definitely want to talk to you, but let's talk about how we do this. Because when things are important to you that you want to get over to, you want to convey to your mate, it is, in my opinion, hugely important to be sure that you deliver that important information at a better time than just because I want to right now. Because what can happen is your message gets lost because the person is not receptive because you haven't even checked in with them to see how they're doing, what's going on with them, are they okay, and are they even available to have this conversation because you don't know what happened with them. And so what it does again is it promotes communication. It gives you an opportunity to solicit and enlist buy-in from your person to say, listen, so when I want to discuss something important that matters to me, what I want to be able to do is first I want to check with you. Is this good for you to talk about? I just came in. I got to kind of wind down from my day. Let me decompress. Can we do this in a half an hour? Not a problem. If you say or if the person says, as it relates to yes, no, or counteroffer, particularly or potential, counteroffer, it is to say that, well, an hour. How about a half an hour? Can we do it in a half? Can we do it in half an hour? Okay, fine. Because again, it's not to dismiss what the person wants to say. It is to come to a point where we can agree on when we're going to discuss something. Because if I just come to you and don't check in with you to see how you are, I'm not considering you because I'm all in on what I want. And so instead of doing that, kind of design in to set aside time when we need to talk or want to talk about something. How we do it? Let's make sure we call it a space check, right? How are you right now? Are you available for this conversation, right? So it's again simple things. I don't say simple things, but little things you can do to make sure that you have a better shot at being successful. If you're already in a relationship and you're not doing those kinds of things, you can totally start to do those things. Because what happens is if you don't, whatever the issue is that was important can potentially become exacerbated because the person wasn't in a good space to hear it, but yet the other person wanted to talk about it. So it never really gets addressed because the person is like, why are you coming at me now? I'm not ready for this. Now, in fact, that person needs to say that, hey, I'm not in a good space right now. I need a minute for whatever the reason. I want to hear what you have to say. I'm willing to listen, but I just I need a minute for whatever the reason they need a minute. Okay. And so it's a matter. So what I'm sharing with you is we're talking about respect on both sides, right? It's the person who wants to share, and it's also respect and regard for and consideration for the person who is listening, right? To ensure that you have the best chance of whatever it is that you wanted to share actually being heard, considered, and possibly addressed, whatever it may be. Does that make sense? If you go with me and this is making some sense, if you just please chat and I mean not chat, but send me a note in the chat because I don't want to be confusing. Because again, I can't see and of course I can't see you, but I just want to make sure that this is clear. Is my intent. So yeah, and you can design in whatsoever you want because here's why this is important. When you're building a relationship, when you're working on getting to know someone, or you're even in a relationship that you value and that you consider and that matters to you, you can totally get. Thank you for letting me know, guys. I totally appreciate that more than I can say because I can't see you. So thank you for letting me know. Um, but because you design these things in, again, we're talking about redesigning we're talking about designing relationships, but it could be a redesign in some instances. And it could also just be, hey, we're going to scrap it all and start over and develop our new normal, right? In the midst of sheltering in place. There's so many new normals that are going on right now. Why not add this one to the equation, especially if this is a relationship and a person that you value and that matters to you, that you don't want to lose. Um, More than that, positive habits, right? By doing so, what happens is once you've gotten a good foundation, those things just become part of how you move. So when something else comes up, because life is ever evolving, that you want to talk, you know how to go about it because you've built in and designed in good habits and techniques, if you will, to ensure that your relationship has a shot at succeeding. Okay, so yeah, I'm telling you, it can be a wonderful thing, and it can, again, it promotes, it encourages communication. It allows you to express yourself absent of like, oh man, I'm afraid of what they may say. No, love you more, and we're going to talk about that a bit as well. But it's important to love you more, and loving you more simply says that I'm not going to make decisions, continue to go along with things that annoy me, upset me, or bother me at the expense of my peace. I'm not doing that. Because again, I have to put my head on my pillow, not you, who's causing me this. Now, in fairness, if you don't say what's bothering you to your person, I'm pretty sure they can't read minds. So the responsibility is on you to share if something's bothering you, but do so in a way that's respectful and check in to ensure that the person is available to hear you in that time. Now, I didn't say wait forever, ever in a day. Okay. What I'm saying is try to be proactive so that you can head off any potential tension, conflict, or dissension between the two of you. Is why I'm encouraging being proactive versus just like, oh well, it'll get better. Because it's not cool to get lost in what you want so badly that you give up you lose you in the process. So again, we're going to come back to loving you more in a bit. Um, I really want to talk about, so we talked about designing for romantic relationships. Now let's talk about designing for coaching relationships. So what do coaches do? We introduce powerful questions to our clients to promote thought and encourage reflection. Again, it's not for me to say what I think you should do. It's for me to ask you a question. And then once you answer, follow the breadcrumbs with another question, because it's all intended to kind of guide the client to a path where they are. I'm sorry, notification. Someone wants to come into the group. I promise I will get to those. Unfortunately, I can't right now. But when, oh gosh, what was I saying? Let me get my thought back. Multitasking is not my strength. Have you figured that out yet? Yeah, it's not good. I'm working on it though. So yes, following the breadcrumbs, right? Based on your answers, based on what a person says, we can help them get to the answer that they need. So, for example, I mentioned to you earlier, I will work with couples, but I work with couples as individuals who are a member of a couple, right? So I hope that makes sense to you. But for example, a powerful question for a couple in this space, sheltering in place during this pandemic, or just at all, is what is possible in this new normal? Oh, 1 second. Sorry about that. My screen went away on me. Sorry. Yeah. What is possible in our new normal, or in this new normal? And what do you need for balance? What do you need? And that's a question that not only do you ask your mate, that's a question that your mate should ask you. You want to ask each other, because if you're coexisting in space, or if you're not in the same space, these are still real questions, because the relationship is still important, even though you may not physically be in the same space. We had a question last week about long distance relationships. Well, guess what? The rules still apply for being mindful of each other's space, asking your mate what they need, how you can do your best to meet them there. Again, we're talking about agreement. That's the whole point of design. Design is around agreement and promotes positive habits for a successful relationship. That's what designing relationships is all about. Accountability, promoting positive habits, and agreement. So, say for singles, they may have a different challenge, right? They may feel that they're cut off from people that they value, relationships they value that they can't access because of where we are right now, and that's the reality of it. So, a question for a client who is single and struggling in this moment, maybe a question for that person would be, what are you learning, right, in this space about yourself? Or what are you learning in just period? What are you learning? And let them tell you what they're learning. Again, that question may promote another question. What emotions are coming up for you? What action can you take? What actions can you take to ease that anxiety, right? So this all comes into self-care, right? For couples, people in relationship, single people not in relationship, self-care is vitally important. Please hear me on that. Especially trying to figure out how to best do that in this space that we're in. And just a couple of suggestions: exercise. By all means, exercise. Go for a walk. Obviously, social distance in your space, but make sure you go for a walk. Take all the precautions you need to get out, get fresh air when you can. I think it's important because you got to care for you. You got to love you more. Go for a drive. I didn't say get out and hang out with your homies. No, get out of your house, go for a drive, because a lot of cars are sitting and people aren't driving. So your car needs to be opened up a little bit too, just like you need to get out of the house. Perhaps your car or your vehicle needs a run as well. But it's just breaking up the monotony of being at home. That's if you are following the guidelines, because there are people who are not. There are people still, believe it or not, there are people still trying to hang out, which is ridiculous. But neither here nor there. It's just be smart about your moves. Be intentional. That's what we do here at Sip and Chill. We're smart. We're balanced. We're intentional. We make good decisions because that's what we need to do. Okay. And remember that you can only control what you can control. So although the world may be going crazy around you, it's remembering to stay balanced and then reaching out to people who are balanced like you or that you perceive as balanced. And if you're not balanced, be honest about that. Okay. So let me do it this way. Say there's a spectrum. And on the spectrum, on the far left, you have persons who are, oh, the world is coming to an end, highly panicky, highly anxious people. Then on the far right, you have persons who are apathetic. Oh, it's not that serious. What's the big deal? It'll pass, what have you. You're balanced in the middle. You're also human. Everyone in the spectrum is human. Here's a challenge. You have to manage your emotions as well. You see these things, and you may drift to one side of that spectrum on occasion yourself. Why? Because you're human. Doesn't mean you have to stay there. So, but it's called recalibration. You come back to the middle to recognize this what it is, and I can't control that. What can I do to manage myself in this time? If I don't know how to do that, then maybe I need to reach to someone who can help me with that, help me work through that, right? That's the whole point of coaching, to help you work through whatever it is you're struggling with, how you want to be better, what's going to help you and give you the best opportunity to go be great. That's what coaches do. We help you win, right? So yes, that's important. So keeping the important thing, and we're about to wrap it up, and I'll take some questions in good time. Keeping the important thing simply means loving you more. You know, I'll use this example, right? If you've ever flown, I'm sure you've heard a flight attendant say, if anything happens in the flight, make sure you put your mask on before you go to assist anyone else. And so if they're telling you that you have to put your mask on first before you go assist someone else, it's the same thing in your life. If you are a compassionate person, empathetic person, if you're thoughtful and considerate, many times you will make decisions at your expense because you're more concerned about how the action, the effort, or energy that will affect the other person. And so you got to place yourself, you got to put your mask on first. It doesn't mean that you're selfish, but sometimes you have to be selfish, especially if people continue to take from you and don't consider you, don't say thank you, and they're just expecting you to be that person. No, I need you to love you more. You can do both, because here's why this is important. If you put everything else ahead of you at your expense, what happens is you may not be around to take care of all the things that matter to you because you didn't take care of you. You didn't put your mask on first. And I'm going to need you to do that. Okay? That's all I'm saying to you. So when you design your relationships, that's part of putting your mask on first. Okay? Because you're saying, I'm going to make sure that I'm considered, and I'm going to bring it to the person who I'm in relationship with, be it a romantic relationship or just an interpersonal of any type of relationship. I want to make sure my voice is heard. Now, doing so respectfully, doing so compassionately, and not angrily to cause a wall to come up where the person becomes defensive. That's not what we're talking about. We're simply talking about this from a conversation perspective. Why? Because, and this is the beauty of it too, when you're getting to know someone, it's even easier because there's no, you're not attached. You say, hey, I'm just getting to know you. So what do you have to lose? And please don't want the relationship so badly that you forfeit your choice. Choose you. In your existing relationships, we talked about strengthen and sustain, right? Well, you may have to go back to identification, right? And get with your person and seek buy-in, where they are, how they feel, what they're willing to agree to, what you're willing to agree to, right? Because again, remember, designing is about agreement on both sides, not going along with. It's getting to an agreement. Why is that important? Because if the relationship matters to both of you, getting to agreement will be a lot less difficult. So I think that's all. I'm sure there's more, but right now I want to take your questions. Again, I see some of the questions coming in to the chat. So if you have questions, I think there was one earlier about why do I coach women? Yes, I'm a man. Why do I coach? Yes, I'm a man. why do you coach so many more women than men? Well, the answer is actually kind of simple. Quite frankly, women tend to care more about relationships in total than we do. More than that, my heart's desire is to speak and coach to women and coach women because the messaging is different coming from a man than it is your good girlfriend. Because I'm not going to tell you as a coach, as a man, yeah, it's wrong, you're the problem. No, I'm going to encourage you to remember your value and worth. And when you get that right, your decisions will reflect. A lot of times people, they're in situations because in their situations are a direct reflection of their understanding their value and worth or not understanding their value and worth. And again, that message seems to resonate more deeply coming from a man to a woman than it does your good girlfriend, who may or may not be in a relationship. That's another thing you got to pay attention to, who you are listening to, and are they credible? Okay. So, yeah, hope that answers your question. Are there more? Man, this is awesome. Again, I'm so excited to have you all here. Thank you for being a part of Sip and Chill. I want you to know also, you can totally connect with me, again, via my website. You can reach out to me via Facebook with your questions. Ultimately, what I like to do, if there are enough questions, I want to be able to turn those into a topic. In addition to having guests on, we want to make sure that those get considered and people, their voices are heard. Because I'm sure, because as people have joined the group, they've talked about different things. There are people who struggle with trust. There are people who struggle with, they say they want to find love. Okay, so there's levels to this thing, right? And this is the part I was saying earlier about the subtleties of getting to know someone. The problem is you can just go along and you're down this path and you're like, man, how did I get here? When there were steps to take, or that could have been taken along the way, I'm sorry, to prevent unnecessary stress and strife in your life. And again, I'm a peaceful, I'm an advocate for peace. Yeah, I'm team peace all the way. So if something is disturbing my peace, I have to address it, because why? I love me more, and I want you to love you more. Let's see. Okay, there's a question. How can I fix the balance? I'm sorry, could you please elaborate? The balance, what balance are you referring to? And if you don't want to answer here, that's fine. Please just reach out to me directly. Um, I'm just not certain I understand your question. So again, you can email me at reg@rucoached.com. You can message me on Facebook, however you want to. Again, I can't see who you are, so just please identify yourself when you do so. Oh, 1 second. Okay. But when you're caught up, how do you pace yourself? Ah, interesting. When you're caught up, how do you pace yourself? Well, the good news is you recognize that you are, and or could be. And so then it's a matter of recognizing what your values are. It all comes back to who you are as a person and what you value. And there's some core value work that I work with people on, to help them understand that when their values are in conflict. And so typically when you're not peaceful, and you're in relationship, it's probably because there's some value, some core value that you hold that's not being honored, either by the person you're in relationship with or you yourself. And that's to be determined after we do the work. But it's that's how you balance, recognizing what you value, recognizing what you care about. And once you know what you value and what you care about, now we can talk about what your standards should be, your personal standards going forward. And then it's about putting in place really good boundaries to protect those values and care abouts. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay. It looks like we have no more questions. This was cool. I wanted to kind of stay under an hour, and we have succeeded. This is very good. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I totally appreciate you popping on. And remember, this is it will be available for replay. I hope it made some sense. And by all means, reach out as you see fit, because we're here to provide a service in this time and beyond. But I definitely want you to know that RU Coached is a trusted resource for you. So, yeah, I think we are. 1 second. Somebody just sent me a note. I got to make sure. I don't want to leave anybody. That's why I'm checking my phone, guys. So give me 1 second. Okay, cool beans. So yeah, we're done. So listen, guys, I'm Coach Reg, and I love. Uh-oh, I have another question. Sorry. 1 second. What advice do you have when two people in a relationship evolve different times and one may feel left behind? Yeah, that's a real good question, and I would say I would ask you, are you willing to have a conversation with the person who you believe or feel isn't evolving at the rate that you are, and see if they may not realize that they feel, or if they do feel like they're left behind. Is that something that can be worked on? Because again, if you value the relationship and value the person, it could be a matter of an exercise in patience, and is how do you do that constructively so that no one gets left behind, right? And again, there's ways to do that, and you can absolutely reach to me, and we can talk about those things, and I can maybe offer some things some ways you can navigate that more successfully. Okay, so I'm gonna actually not pause. I'm still here, but I don't want to sign off, and there's still questions coming in. So I'm going to give it I'll say a little bit more time to see if there are additional questions before we sign off. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to take a sip of water. You all may have something else, but like I said, I might have mine later. Okay. All right. I don't think there. Uh-oh. Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really, really am so thankful that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed being here. Thank you for being here with me. We certainly want to grow the community because, again, coaching is needed, especially in relationships, because we all, I would imagine at some point, all of us want to be connected. And I'm grateful to have been able to do this in this space, in this platform. And I'm so thankful that it's well received. That was my heart's desire. So listen, please continue to stay safe. We'll do it again next week with Coach Courtney Suttis. And I know, Dr. A. I should have. Next time, I promise. I promise. So listen, hey, listen, have a great weekend. Continue to stay safe, sheltering in place, sipping and chilling, right? Remember to love you more, self-care, get that walk in, get that exercise in, go for a drive. Reach out to those that matter to you and that you love, and that love you. And I will see you all soon. I'm Coach Reg, and I love love. Take good care. Bye.